Hello everyone, greetings from India. This is Nirbhay Chauhan from Eklavya self-learning tutorials. Well guys, today in this episode or tutorial, we will basically see the two parametric functionalities or the two parametric nature of the buildings or the houses, like how you can basically uh, make your buildings, or you just need to model once and then you can basically reuse your models uh, repetitively, and that's the true nature of being parametric basically. So for that purpose, you see I have created a sample model here which I'll just show you during this tutorial also. So you can see I have certain dimensions here, which I can just show you as an example. So let's say the length of the building is 35 feet. Let me make it uh, 30 feet. Right, so accordingly the length have changed. Curtain wall length, which is this one, let me make this to 10 feet. So it just take a while for computation. So this is just a sample use case of the power of the parametric functionalities within FreeCAD. So, right, so this is something which we're going to learn today, and how we can basically utilize this option which is called VarSet, or a variable set basically. And this is different from your spreadsheet, right? So this is outside the spreadsheet, and this basically provides you a kind of interface on your tree only directly while you're modeling, so that you can basically create your parametric components, right? So let's jump in, right? I'll just start with creating a new file, right? And we are inside BIM Workbench. The version of FreeCAD is 1.0, and I am in my top work plane, right? So quickly, how we want to basically model this container house is, guys, that basically will have a kind of slab which will basically control the length and depth, or length and width of your house. And then we're gonna have height, and then we'll have some curtain walls for which also we will add parametric properties, so that you can basically control their nature and their sizes directly from your VarSet, right? So what you can do here is make sure you are at the top work plane, and we'll start by creating a sketch. You click on that sketcher option directly from your BIM Workbench, and here you have the sketcher axis or the work plane. So here let me just quickly draw a rectangle, right? Let me constrain this rectangle with the symmetric constraint. So I have selected one of the end vertices, then let's say x-axis, and then another end vertices. Then I'm clicking on this constraint symmetric. So now you can see this rectangle basically increases or decreases its size with respect to the axis, the x and y axis of this particular sketch. Now what we're gonna do is, so for just time being, I will leave a dimension here. So let's say this is 12 feet, and this length of my slab is 20 feet, right? I'll just escape the sketch, okay? And before we get a slab out of it, this is something where parallel variable set comes into place, so that you can create your objects on parallel, and you can also keep on adding your dimensions, or if in case you have your dimensions in hand, you can do that before creating a model also. So we're doing it parallelly. So now you have this option which says create a variable set inside BIM Workbench only. You click on it, it's directly asked you to create a property. We'll click on cancel. So I'll just show you this VarSet. Let me just name it to my house data, right? Make sure there are no spaces. That's why I have used underscore here. Now I'll simply basically right here, I'll just simply right click and I'll say add property, right? And then now it's gonna basically ask you like what kind of property you basically wanna add here. So here you can say app property length, and in the dropdown you have various of properties here, right? So length and width are basically a kind of length property. This is a group name inside which you want to basically group your dimensions. So let's say this one I can say as dimensions, right? And this is a group inside which this dimension would go, and the name of the dimension which we can give here is simply just say house length, right? Click on OK. So you can see house length is 0. You can give this around 25 feet, right? Make sure you mention dimensions meter or feet, whatever you have using or inside your project, use that dimension. And now we'll quickly go to the sketch. Inside the sketch, if you remember, this was a dimension of length. This is something which we entered manually. So I'll click on this FX option which says enter an expression, right? So here basically I will simply write, firstly, this is my house data, the name of that VarSet, the variable set. Simply press arrow like this, down arrow, it will automatically fetch it. And you can see dot is also inserted automatically, which further says like what child options of that my house data you want to select. We basically want to select the house length. So simply just write here h. It's gonna basically or yeah, so you can see house length is fetched. Click on down arrow again, click enter. You see result 25 feet. So it's basically getting that data here. It's reading from there. Click OK, and you can see the dimension increases, right? So this is the concept. Similarly, we'll quickly add another dimension here. Right click on this, we say add property, group is dimension, type is length, we'll write it as house width. Oh sorry, spellings, right? You click on OK. Under documentation you can basically just give a kind of description for a property if in case you want to have it. So I can just say is this is width of house. Click on OK. So basically hovering over it will basically give you the tooltip. This is width of house. So that's the purpose of using documentation field there. So now I'll quickly add the width here. Let's say we'll start with 10 feet. We'll go to the sketch. This was my dimension. Click on FX again, and here it was my house data, and then it was house width. Click enter, click OK, and you see it has fetched 10 feet automatically. So now what we will do is, based on this sketch, we will create a floor slab. So make sure sketch is selected, right? And then what we will do, if in case you want to rename this sketch, that also you can do. So just for better identification, so let's say I am renaming it to floor slab sketch, right? Now clicking on the sketch, I will click on the structure object which creates a slab. So you can see your sketch slab is created. Click on the slab, we will adjust the thickness of the slab. So here you have the height parameter, right? Let me make it as okay, I'll just tell you other way around. Okay, so what you can do here is you can also insert this property using your my house data here. So I'll click on here, I'll say add property, and then I'll say floor slab thickness, right? Click on OK, and I'll set this floor slab thickness as 5 inches, right? I'll go to slab, and here under height I'll click FX here, and I'll simply write my house, and then dot is basically floor slab thickness, right? So you can see, so if in case now I change this thickness to let's say 10 inches, you see the thickness is changing. I'll make it back to 5. So this is the power basically of using the VarSet, right? So you model once and you reuse again and again and again. So this is a slab component which we have just created, the floor slab. Let me rename it to floor slab. So having a good nomenclature basically helps your BIM model and your VarSet linkage very well, and easy to remember for yourself also, like what you have been referring so far. Now basically we will try to model the walls on top of this slab. We click on this slab, and here we have this setting of the current working plane. I click on this, and now the work plane is set to this top of this slab, which anyways was the origin working plane. I'll make another sketch which is on top of this slab now, and now basically I would like to add the boundary walls, but I would also like to leave the space for the curtain walls at these two sides and at these two sides basically. So that kind of partition basically we have to take care of now here. So what we will do is, firstly I will refer some external geometry. So I click on this option which says create external geometry, right? So I'll click on this edge of this slab, you can see, and then this one. So now these are some external reference geometry on top of which you can constrain your sketcher geometry for your wall sketch. Now I have this polyline, or I'll create a simple line segment. I'll start from this edge, I'll drop it here, and then from here to here. Make sure either you go anti-clockwise or you go clockwise, because I'll just show you now once we create the walls also, because the orientation or the direction of your wall basically depends a lot, so, right? So we're going in one direction only, so it will basically helps us to further switch the direction basically. So that basically switching of directions will also take place very uniformly. So now all of these walls will be equal for our example. So I'll click on this wall, then next wall. You need not to like hold Control or Shift key in the sketcher. So simply by clicking left click, you are setting everything in single go, and then you have equal constraint here. All of you can see my sketches are equally constrained now, right? So either I can give dimension to this walls, like how much length I need, but I basically want to govern this gap by the length of curtain wall, which we'll be drawing in another sketch. So what we will do, just for easy sake, I'll click on this point and this point, and I'll give the dimension here like this, right? Let it be something for now. And inside my house data, I'll right click again here. So you see I am inside my sketcher workbench, but I can play around with my property of the VarSet which I have created. So I'll say add property, dimensions group, and I'll simply write here curtain wall length, right? Let me keep the curtain walls, let's say my house length 25. I'll keep the curtain wall length, let's say 20 feet. I want it to be huge, right? And then here the dimension which we just gave under expression, you remember my house data, and then it was curtain wall length. 20 feet is fetched. Click OK, and you see it has done the changes accordingly. And this length, if you just want to see for reference, this is around 2 feet 6 inches. Okay, so I'll click escape. Right, so from this sketch, basically, let me just rename this to wall sketch, and I'll draw walls quickly, clicking on the sketch and this wall object. And you see your walls are drawn, but they are outwards, and you can see their outwardness is also uniform because we were in a single direction. So I click on this wall, right click on it, and I'll simply say flip direction. Right, or you can also do it from here in the properties where it says alignment. It is right, you can make it left or center, right? So it's up to you. So this is done, right? Now what we're gonna do, basically, we have the wall and we have the thickness of the wall here and the height of the wall here. That is also something basically we want to drive with our VarSet. So I'll go here and I'll just add property and I'll say wall thickness. Click OK. Thickness of wall I want to give 5 inches, let's say. Let it be 5 inches, or let's say 9 inches. Okay, I'll go to my wall here, and at the bottom there is width, and then I'll just say my house data wall thickness, and 9 inches is fetched, right? So I'll just show you side by side. So I'll make it to, let's say, 4 inches. So you can see your wall thickness is changing, right? So that's huge power. I also want to govern the length of the walls, basically in a way the length of the level of the floor, so height of the floor basically. So what I'll just say here is add property. I can say wall length, or I can say my room height. That is more appropriate for the user, right? So room height is fine. Spelling, sorry. Okay, so room height is basically we want to give 10 feet, and I'll go to my wall, and here basically there's a property of height, and here also basically I'll fetch the dimensions from here, right? So this is changing very well, perfect so far. Now we will basically draw the curtain wall, which we want to draw here, and then another here. This will be kind of window which we will further see in a form of curtain wall only. So I'll click on the sketch again, make sure it is drawn to this. I'll go to my sketcher, right? And you can see it has automatically fetched the sections here. So this is because of this option. I'll click on this, it's showing you everything, or I click on this, it's showing me the only elements which are cutting at that particular working plane. So that's very helpful thing. So one thing here is either I can fetch these lines, or as I anyways have the length of the curtain walls, what I will do is I'll click on this external geometry, and then this one, because two sides it has to be equal. Click on line, it starts from here to here just randomly, and then from here to here. Okay, make sure these lines are equal, and then let's make them constraint equity with the x-axis of this sketch. Similarly for this one, right? So now they will increase or decrease evenly. And now basically I will add the dimension here, which was the curtain wall length. So click on this and dimension here, go to function, and I'll just say my house data and the curtain wall length. Perfect. 20 feet. So you see, it automatically reaches that point. So need to add additional constraints. I'll click escape from the sketch. Now let me just add the name of this sketch if in case you want to give curtain wall sketch. So now this is FreeCAD version 1.0, which is a stable version. In the upcoming version, you can simply click on this sketcher object and then hit your curtain wall. It will create the curtain wall. But in the stable version, the reason I'm using stable version, like just to be bug free and it's more smoother in a way, right? So how you can do here is the workaround. We click on the sketch, we have to extrude them as a surface firstly, right? So here you have the extrusion option, custom direction 1, and for timing let me just give the dimensions, let's say 12 feet. I'll click apply, close, and then what I can do is here in the extrusion, this length forward, I can give the room height. Very simple. So my house data, room height, and that's how basically you go on. And now based on these surfaces, this extrusion, then you can hit curtain wall, and your curtain wall is basically created, right? Now what you can do is you can add some panels. So just quickly showing you the length of the curtain wall here. Let me just, it's too huge, let me make it 15 feet for now. So you see the walls are automatically adjusted. Now what we can do is the panel thing. So basically I want around 3 vertical panels and just 2 horizontal panels. So inside my VarSet, I'll add another property which would say V panels for my curtain wall, just CW, just for a shortcut. Sorry, this is not a length, this is a number, right? So I'll just remove this property. Okay, so this is something you have to be careful. So we go here and we'll search for a property called integer. Should also work fine because it's a whole number. And I'll just mention here, and you can make another group also. So far we had dimensions in terms of feet and inches. This is a number, so you can just simply say quantity. So it's better for grouping. Let me give a name here is V panels for my CW. So you can see another group is created, this one. So vertical panels are, I want around 3 here. Let me add another property, quantity, type is integer. So this is something you have to take care of. Now horizontal panels, CW. Okay, these I want around 2. Now I'll go to my curtain wall, which is this one, and here you can see number of vertical section is 1. Just see once if it is working properly. It is showing the vertices. So yeah, this is fine. Sometimes you have to swap these vertical panels. So here you have option of swap horizontal and vertical. So this is working fine for us. So vertical sections we want 3, which is fetching from here. So I'll click on this and expression, my house data, and then V panel CW. So you see it is fetching from there. Perfect. Just another thing I can do here, then comes my horizontal one, which are here. For this also my house data and horizontal panel CW. Perfect. So this is how now you have got number of panels also adjusted for your curtain wall. Let me just make the shading as no shading, because yeah, this is now clean. So now next what we can do here is we will draw two curtain walls here basically at some offset. So let's click again at this working plane, right, and go to Sketcher. And for this purpose basically I'll be choosing external geometry, this one, and this one, guys. And now what I'll do, okay, just slight mistake, not these ones, because we want these to be at offsets. So, and I want them to be overlapping here, so this is fine, and this one is fine. And now I'll click on my line element. I'll draw something like this, because I want them to be at the offsets from the end basically. Right. So now the offset basically I want to give. So for that also let me just add another property here. That will be a dimension. Add property. Group is basically VarSet dimensions. Just see the spellings. Yeah, that's dimensions. And it's a length. This one. Dimensions. The name we're gonna give here is so this is front facing curtain wall, so I'll just write front CW offset. Great. And this one basically we will give around 2 feet. Works well. And then here basically I will just, and one more thing, just to avoid mentioning dimensions 2 times here, because for both of them we want the same offset, I'll make them equity constraint along the x-axis, because all of our sketch is basically like this, right? And now from this edge to this edge I will add the dimensions, and I'll fetch from my functions, and this one is basically front CW offset. Very well. Right, same approach for this. We will extrude it, custom direction in Z directions, let it be 6 feet, apply OK. And for this one also, the height length forward we will be fetching it from our room height, right? So this is how you can reuse your dimensions, you can see, from VarSets at multiple places. So at the end you will see this, it is getting really powerful. Right. Just one problem we basically made here is we don't want them to be overlapping the walls, right? These has to be inside. So I'll just go to my sketcher again, right? So the constraint was supposed to be these walls in a way. So what you can do here, this constraint I can delete. Sorry, you're careful here. Or you can choose it from your this side panel, delete. Same this one, which is for your topmost wall. This is fine. So now you can see it's like this and like this, right? It has to be at the edge of the wall. So I'll just delete these external geometries. Just apologies for that, it happens sometimes. So this is fine, I guess. Yeah, this is working fine. So click on external geometry again, So if in case this is not adding like this, so one thing we can do here, just to be more intelligent, we'll constrain it to this particular length like this, and then we'll add the offsets. I'll show you how. Right, so the constraints are fine. Firstly, we'll give the same constraint which we had previously, the offset, which is this one. Fetch it from here, my house data, and it was front CW offset. So for both of them this works fine. And then from here you can give the parametric nature in regards to the thickness of wall. Right, so thickness of wall we already have there, so I'll click on this point and this point, and I'll click on dimensions like this. So this should be my house data, wall thickness 9 inches. Right, and to make it more easy to avoid that particular dimension, I'll make it equity constraint. Perfect. Same for this one. Right, and now you have got your sketch fully constrained. So right, this is the faces actually which we were wanting for inside this. Right, and now clicking on this extrude, click curtain wall, and now you have curtain wall ready. So now we have the front curtain wall in hand. So what we'll do here is the horizontal sections that I need are 2. Right, so this is fine. If in case you want to control it parametrically, you can add in your my house data as well, so that's up to your convenience. Right, so far we have our parametric base in hand. Now we'll add the roof slab. Right, so what you can do is, you know, the roof slab sketch gonna be at the room height. I'll click on top view. Right, let me add top view only. Let me start a sketch. Right, in the sketcher properties, you go to placement. Right, inside the position of z-axis, we want this sketch to be starting at the room height. Right, so again, my house data, room height, which is 10 feet. Right, so now this sketch gonna be at the top of your room, basically. Right, so if I just show you, for example, this is just a rectangle. Right, so if you just see, this is coming at the height of your room. Right, and accordingly it would move. So coming back here, let me just rename roof slab sketch. Okay, so I'm coming here back. So basically, firstly let's make it equity constrained with the axis, because we want the offsets and the size dimensions of this roof slab to be like equally in manner. Now coming in regards to the offsets, so there are two ways. Either you can give a geometry here and then basically you give a offset here, or you have the room width, house width, house length, and then you can add the extra width there. So I'll just show you how. Let's click on this and add a dimension here. Right, I'll just make it more intelligent. So let's say my house data, and then we have house width. right? Plus we will do around, let's say, 2 feet this side, 2 feet this side, or 4 feet, which becomes 14 feet, you see. So it's very live. So this is something you have, and we'll do it for here as well. So my house data, and then sorry, house length plus 4 feet. If in case you want to have it parametric in the VarSet, you can define it there as well. I'm just trying to like save your time because offsets are sometimes not very much in that way. So okay, you have your sketch constraint here. We'll escape it, and now from this roof slab sketch, I'll click on this structural slab. It's going downwards. First let me rename it roof slab. So you scroll it down. Here you have normal. Just make it positive 1 axis for Z. Perfect. And then you can give the height. So height will be same for the ground slab and the roof slab. So you can just simply fetch it from there, right? My house data, floor slab thickness, right? So this is, we have the exact size from there. So now all in all, you have your parametric house in your hand. Let us just quickly give some colors to it. So all the slabs that we have here, let me just create a group also here. Create a group. Let me rename this to slabs. Let me add my floor slab and roof slab to this group. Let's create another group. Let me rename it to my walls. And this is a wall which I anyways have. I'll push it here. And another group which you obviously know is for curtain walls. And these are two curtain walls which you can drag it here, right? Let us just save this house also. Model house. I'll be sharing this file with you guys as well for your reference, so that you can basically play around. In terms of colors, so I was saying my slabs, let me make them to, in the view data, basically shape appearance, let's make them black, right? The brick walls, the concrete walls, I have this color. I created one color basically, anyways, so let it be this color, right? And now you have your parametric house in hand. Let's switch to perspective view, and now basically we will see the power of parametricity. Are you guys ready? Cool. So you have your VarSets, my house data properties. So firstly guys, curtain wall length 15 feet. Let's make it just 10 feet. Click enter. So it's changed, right? Floor slab thickness 5 inches, that we make is 10 inches, just for reference. Obviously it won't be that much, so I'll switch it to 5 inches. Front curtain wall offsets, so it's 2 feet. Let me make it, let's say 1 feet. So see, it's coming forward. Or let me make it 2.5 feet. This is fine. House length 25 feet. Let me make it 20 feet. Right? Interesting. Then we have house width 10 feet. Let's make it 15 feet. So you see curtain wall getting enlarged. Room height is 10 feet. Let me make it, just for reference purpose, obviously it won't be that much, 20 feet. It's gonna be huge. So you see, so let me just reduce it. So it would be like 11 feet is sufficient, right? Wall thickness 9 inches. Let me make it just 4 inches. So you see, it reduces. 9 is fine. Then basically horizontal panels for the curtain walls, which you can see here. They were 2. Let me make them just 1. Right? Let me make them 3. And your vertical panels for the curtain wall, these are 3. Let me just make them 2. Right? Let me make them 4. Right, guys? So this is the kind of power of parametric variable sets that you can use for your regular modeling, day-to-day modeling, right? So it's very helpful when you're using the BIM objects which you might require for reusage, or you have the concept of modular housing, right? Or the prefabrication. So there, this is extremely helpful, right? So I hope you guys like this video. Let me know with your comments and suggestions what more you want to learn, and feel free to like share this with your friends and colleagues. They will also like find this helpful. It was a big tutorial, and share and subscribe the channel. That really motivates. And there's a coffee link also, if in case you find something in terms of donation or you want to buy me a coffee, that's also great. And keep supporting, guys. We'll have some more upcoming interesting stuff around, and hit the subscribe button for this channel. And that's all, I think. Take care, goodbye, thank you so much. See you in some another tutorial, guys. Till then, take care, goodbye, see you.